Have you noticed that no matter how hard you work, your money just doesn't seem to go as far as it used to? The groceries cost more, rent went up again, a fast food meal somehow costs what a sit-down dinner used to, and your paycheck, even if it grew a little, feels like it's shrinking in your hands. You are not imagining it, and you are not bad with money. There is a silent, invisible force quietly draining the value of every dollar you own, every single day, while you sleep. It's called inflation, and most people feel its pain constantly but never truly understand what it is or, more importantly, how to fight back against it. In the next few minutes I'm going to show you exactly what inflation really is, the myths that keep people confused and afraid, the shocking truth about what it's doing to the cash sitting in your bank account, and the honest fine print nobody explains. Then I'll show you the specific moves that let regular people actually beat inflation instead of just being crushed by it. If you've ever felt like you're running faster and faster just to stay in the same place, this video is going to make sense of it, and give you a way out. So stick with me. Welcome to Money Decoded. So let's actually demystify what inflation is, because once you see it clearly, everything starts to make sense. Inflation simply means that, over time, prices rise, and so each dollar you have buys a little bit less than it did before. Think of it this way. Imagine your dollar is a slice of pizza. Inflation doesn't take slices away from you, instead, it slowly makes each slice smaller. You still have the same number of dollars in your account, but each one feeds you less. A candy bar that cost a nickel decades ago costs well over $1 today. A house, a car, a cart of groceries, all dramatically more expensive than they were a generation ago. That's inflation working relentlessly in the background. Now, a small, steady amount of inflation is actually considered normal in a healthy economy. Historically around 2 to 3% a year is the target. It happens for a few reasons. Sometimes there's more money floating around chasing the same goods, sometimes the cost of making and shipping things goes up, sometimes demand simply outpaces supply. The exact causes get debated endlessly by economists. But here's what matters for you and your wallet: whatever the cause, the effect is the same. The purchasing power of your money erodes over time. And that leads to some dangerous myths about what you should do about it. Let's tear down the myths that quietly make inflation so much worse for regular people. Myth 1: keeping all my money as cash is the safe choice. This is the most expensive myth of all. Cash sitting in a regular account feels safe because the number never drops, but inflation is silently shrinking what that number can buy. If you earn almost nothing in interest while prices rise 3, 4, 5% a year, you are guaranteed to lose purchasing power every year. Safe from dropping, but slowly bleeding value. Myth 2: inflation is temporary, I'll just wait it out. Prices very rarely go back down. Even when inflation slows, that just means prices are rising more slowly, not reversing. The higher prices you're paying now are mostly here to stay. Myth 3: there's nothing I can do about it, it's out of my control. You can't control the inflation rate, that's true. But you have enormous control over how much of it actually hurts you, based on where you keep your money and how you position yourself. Myth 4: if I just work harder and earn more, I'll outrun it. Earning more helps, but if your raises barely keep up with prices and your money sits in cash, you're still running in place. Beating inflation isn't just about earning, it's about what you do with what you earn. And when you see what inflation is actually doing to idle cash, it becomes impossible to ignore. Here's the reveal that changes how you'll see your bank account forever. Money sitting still is not staying still, it is silently melting. Let's make it concrete. Say you have $10,000 sitting in a basic account earning almost nothing. If inflation runs at just 3% a year, then after 1 year, your $10,000 still says $10,000, but it only buys what about $9,700 did before. You didn't lose money on paper, but you lost purchasing power. Now stretch that out. Over 10 years at 3% inflation, that $10,000 loses roughly a quarter of its buying power while just sitting there. Over 20 or 30 years, cash can lose half its value or more. This is the brutal, quiet math that keeps people feeling poorer no matter how much they save, if they save the wrong way. And here's the flip side, the part that gives you power. The reason the wealthy tend to get wealthier through inflation is that they don't hold their long-term wealth as cash. They hold assets, things like stocks, index funds, real estate, and businesses, that tend to rise in value along with, or faster than, inflation. When prices go up, the value of those assets tends to go up too. So inflation quietly punishes people who hold cash, and quietly rewards people who own assets. That single insight is the whole game. But before you act, I have to give you the honest fine print. Here's the honest fine print, because I'll never sell you a fantasy. First, this does not mean cash is evil or that you should have zero of it. You absolutely still need an emergency fund, cash you can grab instantly for a crisis, and money you'll need within the next year or two should stay in cash or a high-yield savings account, because you can't risk it dropping right when you need it. The melting problem applies to large amounts of long-term money left sitting idle, not to your safety cushion. Second, the assets that beat inflation, like stocks and index funds, go up and down in the short term, sometimes sharply. They beat inflation over years and decades, not necessarily in any single month. So this is long-term money, and panic selling during a dip is how people turn a great inflation hedge into a loss. Third, no single move perfectly and instantly cancels inflation. This is about tilting the odds strongly in your favor over time, not finding a magic shield. And fourth, be careful. Fear of inflation gets used to sell people risky, overpriced, or scammy products promising to protect them. The real solutions are usually boring, proven, and low cost. With all of that understood, let's talk about how you actually fight back. So here's the first move, and it's the most important. Stop letting large amounts of long-term money sit idle in cash where inflation eats it. Now, I want to be precise here, because balance matters. Step 1, keep your emergency fund and any short-term money, cash you'll need in the next year or two, in a high-yield savings account. Notice I said high yield. A good high-yield savings account pays you far more interest than a basic account, which at least helps your safety money keep closer pace with inflation while staying completely safe and instantly available. That's the right home for cash you truly need liquid. Step 2, and this is the key, for your long-term money, the wealth you won't touch for many years, you want it working in assets that historically outpace inflation. For most regular people, the simplest, most proven option is a broad, low-cost index fund, owning a piece of hundreds of companies whose values and profits tend to rise right along with prices. Historically, the stock market as a whole has grown well above the rate of inflation over the long run, meaning your money doesn't just keep up, it actually grows in real terms. So the move is simple: safety money in high-yield savings, long-term money invested in inflation-beating assets. Don't leave your future sitting in a melting ice cube. But there's a second half to winning this fight. The second move is to attack inflation from the other direction, grow what comes in, and control the biggest things going out. On the income side, in a world where prices rise every year, a stagnant income is actually a pay cut in disguise. So your income needs to grow too. That means periodically making the case for a raise, building skills that make you more valuable, or adding a side income stream. Even a modest extra source of money can more than offset rising prices. Your ability to earn is your single biggest weapon against inflation, so invest in it. On the spending side, don't waste your energy stressing over tiny purchases while ignoring the giants. The categories that truly move your budget are the big three: housing, transportation, and food. Getting those large, recurring costs right, not overpaying for housing, not draining money on an expensive car, being smart about food, protects you from inflation far more than skipping a coffee ever will. When the biggest lines in your budget are under control, rising prices on the small stuff barely dent you. So you fight inflation on both fronts: your money works in assets that outpace it, your income grows to outrun it, and your biggest expenses stay controlled so it can't corner you. Now let's turn all of this into something you can actually do tonight. Let's make this real with 3 concrete moves tonight. First, look at where your cash actually is. Check how much money you have sitting in a basic, low-interest account. Keep your emergency fund and short-term needs, but if you have a large pile of long-term money earning almost nothing, that's inflation's favorite meal. At minimum, move your savings into a high-yield savings account tonight. It takes about 15 minutes and instantly helps your cash keep better pace with inflation. Second, make sure your long-term money has a plan to actually beat inflation. If you're not yet investing any of your long-term money in something like a broad index fund, decide tonight to start, even with a small amount. Getting your future money into inflation-beating assets is the core of this entire strategy. Third, write down your 3 biggest monthly expenses: housing, transportation, and food, and ask one honest question: is any of these bigger than it needs to be? Those are the lines where getting it right protects you most. Account for your cash, plan for your long-term money, and eyeball your big 3. If you do only one thing tonight, move your idle savings into a high-yield account, because stopping the bleeding is the fastest win there is. Small moves tonight compound into real protection over the years. Let me leave you with the mindset shift, because it's the whole thing. Inflation is not some unstoppable villain that everyone loses to equally. It's a quiet, constant force that punishes one specific behavior, holding your wealth as idle cash, and rewards another, owning assets that grow. The people who feel crushed by inflation year after year are usually the ones doing everything right by the old rules, working hard, saving diligently, and letting it all pile up in a bank account where it silently loses value. Meanwhile, the people who quietly get ahead aren't necessarily earning more, they've just positioned their money correctly, keeping only what they need in cash and putting the rest into things that rise with the tide. You don't beat inflation by panicking, by chasing get-rich schemes, or by hiding your money in a mattress. You beat it by understanding one simple truth: cash sitting still loses, assets that grow win, and your income has to keep climbing. You now understand something most people feel but never grasp, and understanding it is the first step to never being quietly robbed by it again. Stop letting your money melt. Put it to work, and let it grow faster than prices ever can. And the single best, simplest tool most people have for outgrowing inflation is one I broke down completely in another video. So let's bring it home. Inflation quietly shrinks the value of every dollar you own, which is why everything feels more expensive even when you're working hard. Cash left sitting idle slowly melts, losing a chunk of its buying power over the years, while assets like stocks and index funds tend to rise along with or faster than prices. So the winning formula is simple: keep only your emergency and short-term money in a high-yield savings account, put your long-term money into assets that beat inflation, grow your income so it never falls behind, and keep your biggest expenses under control. Pick one move from this video and do it tonight, just one: move your idle savings to a high-yield account, or start investing your long-term money, or audit your big 3 expenses. Now, the single most powerful, most accessible tool for regular people to grow their money faster than inflation is the boring, beautiful index fund, buying a tiny piece of the whole market so your wealth rises with the economy. I broke down exactly what it is and how to buy one in another video, and it is the perfect next watch to actually win this fight. Go see that one right now. Subscribe to Money Decoded USA. Real money help for everyday Americans, no hype. I'll see you in the next one.